Today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. A field of 17 youth bowlers, 9 in the Scratch Division and 8 in the Handicap Division, bowled 2 games of qualifying in hopes of getting on the show. Only the top 4 in the Scratch Division and the top 3 in the Handicap Division would advance. And here they are. First, in the Handicap Division, bowling off a 128 average and qualifying in the number 3 position is Brandon Caraviti. Brandon is new in our league this year and is making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. He'll face our number 2 qualifier and the smallest person on the show today, Rowan Sautner, who's bowling off a 130 average. Rowan is new this season in our junior varsity league, and he's making his first appearance on Prodigy today, too. The winner of that match will bowl for the Handicap Division title today against our tournament leader, Amanda Hicks. Amanda moved over from Cherokee Lanes to bowl in our Roswell Varsity League this year, where she's sporting a 141 average. She'll be spotting about 10 pins or so to whoever she faces today. Then in the Scratch Division, our number 4 qualifier today is Christian Manel. The winningest player on Prodigy last season has failed to advance past qualifying in our first 3 shows of Season 3. But today, after getting off to a slow start, he rallied in Game 2 to eke into the 4th spot. He'll face our number 3 qualifier, Dawson Stewart. Dawson, one of a few bowlers who came over from Brunswick Zone Lilburn today, is looking for his first individual crown on Prodigy. 2 years ago, he was the Georgia State Youth Bowler of the Year. The winner of that match will reach the semifinal match where they'll face our number 2 seed, Nick Dischinger. Already a winner once on Prodigy this season, Nick will try to become our first 2-time champion of this young season. But whoever wins that match will have to get past our tournament leader, Charlie Bostic. A winner 1 week ago on Prodigy, Charlie is also looking to become a 2-time champion this season. The winner of the Coveted Trophy Pin 2 seasons ago, Charlie is 1 game away from going back-to-back in 2018. Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. This is Coach Randy welcoming you to episode 71 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Auto-complete, auto-compete. And if that title is a little too cryptic for you, they're bowling today on the Kegel sport pattern known as Autobahn. This is a 42-foot pattern, the same as our house shot, with an overall volume pretty close to what most house shots offer, about 25 milliliters of oil. But with a 2-to-1 ratio, players will get virtually no help at all from the lanes, and they'll have to be precision shot makers if they want to score today. Indeed, scoring was pretty low through qualifying, as only 3 200 games were bowled in qualifying, and none of our scratch bowlers finished their 2 games in plus figures. But right now, without further ado, it's time to turn our attention to the undercard, the Handicap Division, featuring 2 newcomers to Prodigy, our number 3 qualifier, Brandon Caraviti, and our number 2 qualifier, Rowan Sautner. Brandon carries a league average of 128 in the Roswell Varsity League, while Rowan carries a league average of 130 in the junior varsity. The handicap works like this. They get 90% of the difference between their average and 200, with fractions being thrown out. So Brandon gets 64 pins handicap, while Rowan gets 63 pins. That's a differential of just 1 pin. So as you see the scores on screen, we'll add that 1 pin into Brandon's score in frame 1, so you won't have to add a thing. And Rowan's very first shot on Prodigy, a high hit, leaves the 3-pin. And he goes quickly to the rack for a second ball. Both of these bowling balls he's got are plastic. And he covers the spare, so a good start for the little guy. And now, our first look at Brandon Caraviti. 14 years old, only been bowling a few months. Big fan of Prodigy. Comes up high, leaves the 3-6. Not sure if Prodigy had anything to do with him taking up the sport, but he's been a big fan for a while. And he runs by the 3-6, just tips out the 3-pin. So an open frame. Now that was 9 out. You'll notice we've added 1 pin to his score in the first frame. That's the handicap differential. He gets 1 more pin than Rowan in handicap. Pretty good ball right there, ringing 10. Certainly could have gone. So he goes to his spare ball to shoot at the 10, cross lane. And he covers it nicely. So now we get another look at little Rowan Sautner. Rowan just turned 10. And he too has only been bowling a few months. He started up over the summer. And that one comes up a little high, and now he's got a cluster. The 3-6-10. Here's how you make it. Put the ball on the 3 and the 6. Let the ball deflect into the 10, or the 6 will get the 10. He goes cross lane. And he's got a little straight ball action that he uses to shoot at his spares. That's a pretty advanced move for a guy who's only been bowling a few months. That's pretty impressive. Look at this. Well, we met Rowan at our Kids Fest, which was something that preceded League. How good is that? Well, he threw a whole bunch of those on the day of our Kids Fest. And I was like, who's this kid? Look at this. 10 back. All right, Brandon, the gauntlet has been thrown down. And he gets a crossover strike. You see that big giant crossover step. His first step. I'd like to see that crossover be more of a cross in front. I don't like it being called a crossover step because see how far to the left that first step goes? Way to the left of his left foot. Man, that's a good shot there. So a double to take the lead for Brandon. But that first step should be more like a balance beam step. You want it in front of the left, not to the left of the left foot. Well, Rowan goes high that time and leaves a couple. He wastes no time in going to the rack for his spare ball. Carefully places his feet. And he gets the 6-10. Now, I remind you, he's only been bowling a few months. No instruction to speak of. What little instruction he's gotten, that's true for both of these kids. Another strike for Rowan. What little instruction these two have gotten have been from our league's coaches just the first few weeks of league. No lessons to speak of. Solid Brooklyn. Well, that one crosses over a little bit, and now Brandon's got the 6-10. His opponent made it in the fourth frame, and we've got a little mix-up in the overhead scoring right now, but the mix-up is just that the names are backwards. What you see on your screen is correct. But in the bowling center, we had the names up on the wrong scores. So, yeah, we're just having to switch it on screen in the bowling center, but it doesn't affect what you're seeing here. And that's a good spare by Brandon. Well, a few years experience and some instruction, and these two might be dangerous. Well, that could have gone. Gets a nudge on the 10 pin, but it only moves about a ½ inch. Doesn't fall, so he's got a single pin spare. And this time it slides off into the channel, so an open frame for Brandon, and that hands the lead back to Rowan. Oh my goodness. Well, that looked like a pretty good shot right there, but a super light ball, a plastic ball that's not going to drive through the pins like a heavier reactive ball would, and he's got the 8-10. Just go for one. He does, and that's 9 out. And the lead goes back to Brandon. Just one pin separates these two. Well, a big pull to the left that time, and Rowan just didn't let go of that one in time. And he's got the 1, 2, 3, 5. You shoot it just like a strike. Put the ball on the 1-3, let the ball drive through, and take out the 5. It's got to get up. And he leaves a couple. So 8 out. And Brandon's lead grows. Now watch this crossover step. Way to the left. And he pulls that one too and misses the head pin left. And now he's got a tricky one. The 1, 3, 6. And you shoot this one like a strike as well. Put it right in the 1-3 pocket, and that'll do it. Oh, and he chops the 1 right off the 3. So that's another open frame, and these two just keep going back and forth. Brandon's lead is 1 pin, which is that 1 pin in handicap differential that he received. Scratch, they're tied, but Brandon up 1 in the match. Comes in a little light that time, leaves the 2. Well, with these young players, they haven't really quite learned how to make spares, so it's just kind of a feel thing. They don't have a system yet. And there is a missed 2 pin, and the lead goes back to Rowan. And he comes up thin in the pocket and has the 2, 4, 5, and you see he's in a hurry to shoot it. Put the ball on the 2 and the 5, let the 2 take out the 4. Easy when you draw it up. All right, he gets it on the other side. That'll work too. And he maintains his 10-pin lead. Oh, man, that was a good shot. Right in the pocket. How did that not go down? Let's watch it again, this time in split screen so we can see his reaction. At this point, I know he thinks this is good. This is right there. Oh, man, how did that 10 not go? Young man, you are going to leave a lot of 10 pins in your life. So you're going to need to learn how to make it. The lead goes back to Brandon. As we get down to the end of this match, who's going to step up at the end? Another high hit. Brandon leaves the 6-pin. It's got to get over. It does. So he takes a 2-pin lead into the 10th frame. That first ball sails by, and now he's got the 1-2-4 in that short count. Actually hands the lead back to Rowan. The 1-2-4, put it on the Brooklyn pocket, and you will make the spare. The winner of this match will go on to face Amanda. Oh, look out. In the weeds. And Brandon gets 7 out, which hands the lead to Rowan, but more importantly, Rowan needs just 7 pins in the 10th to advance. And that's the winning ball right there. So I'm not sure he even realizes he just won the match. He misses the spare, but it does not matter. Little Rowan has defeated Brandon, and we'll move on to the championship match. It's Rowan Sautner and Amanda Hicks for the title when we return.
Welcome to Silly Sixpence Bowling, the game that actually talks.
Hey, let's get the ball rolling.
Who said that? Take your best shot. These silly pins are unbelievable.
Nice shot, but I'm still here.
I'll get him this time. This is a first. It even tells you how many you've knocked down. 4. Hey, how did you know that? You heard it here. Silly Sixpence, the silly pin-headed talking bowling game from Milton Bradley. Batteries not included.
I'm smarter than your average pin, you know.
Let's take a look at how we got here. We began with 8 kids in the Handicap Division, and Amanda got off to a fast start with a 195 scratch game to seize a big lead right away. Rowan was right there on her heels, and Allison made an early bid to get in the mix. But in Game 2, the big move was made by Brandon, who climbed from 6th to 3rd. Meanwhile, Josh, another newcomer in our league, kept showing improvement, while 3 of our regulars, Faith, Hunter, and Spiros, brought up the rear this week. And as you just saw, little Rowan eked out a nail-biter against Brandon in our opening match and has advanced to the championship match, where he'll face Amanda for the title in the Handicap Division. Amanda gets 53 pins handicap, while Rowan gets 63. That's a differential of 10. So we'll add 10 pins to Rowan's score in the first frame, so you won't have to do any math. Amanda misses the pocket wide on her opening toss and leaves the 1-2-4. Now, Amanda has been in this position before. She bowled for the title against Spiros once before in the Littles division. She lapped the field in qualifying today. And just catches a piece of the head pin and sends it around the 2 and the 4, and that's an open to start. We saw a lot of missed spares in qualifying, so I would expect that to continue. And now Rowan's got himself a real problem. The left-hander's fence, the 1-3-6-10. You don't see right-handers leave this very often. But you put the ball on the 1-3 just as you would with a strike. Or you catch it on the Brooklyn side and get them all to go. So an unlikely spare to start, but a spare nonetheless. And Rowan is off and running. No. And he sends one into the ditch. All right, now that would be 10 in the first frame for Rowan. But remember, he's getting a 10-pin handicap differential. He gets 10 more pins than Amanda in handicap, so we add that differential into his score in the first frame, so you don't have to do the math. And now Rowan will go at a full rack for his spare. Well, and that's not going to be the frame he looks back on fondly in this match. He gets 4 out, and with that, his handicap is gone, and Amanda has the lead. Yikes. She goes high right on the nose and leaves the 4-6-7-9. Now this is makeable. This is decidedly easier than it would be with the 10-pin, which would be the Greek church. You go for it. You shoot it like you're shooting the 4-9. You catch the 4 a little heavy, get it into the back of the 9. The 9 will fall forward. She's going the other way. Or you slide the 4 in front of the 9, and it will deflect off the front of the 9 into the 6, but she gets 6 out, and back and forth they go. And now Amanda's lead turns into a 10-pin deficit. There is a good shot right there, and Amanda puts it right in the pocket, and that's a solid strike. This is how it's done. Right over the second arrow. Gets into a roll in the last 8 feet of the lane, just as you would want. Now Rowan puts it in the pocket as well, but as we mentioned before, he's throwing a light ball, a plastic ball that's not going to dig in a lot. So he's got the 5-10 split. Move your feet about 5 or 6 boards to the right, throw your strike shot, and you'll tick the left edge of the 5-pin and slide it over into the 10. Well, he went for it boldly, but hooks by. So another open frame, and the lead passes back to Amanda. Here, I don't want it. You take it. No, I don't want it. You can have it. Well, as it so often is with kids, spares, spares, spares. Well, he gets a piece of the head pin, just enough to give him 8. But now he's got a tricky spare, the 3-9. With that sleeper in the back, you've got to hit the 3-pin squarely to carry out the back pin. But he sends it off into the channel again, and Rowan a little out of control right now. Another open, and Amanda's lead grows to 14 as she's working on a strike. But this time that ball fails to make it back to the pocket, and she leaves the washout. It's the 1-2-4-10 version of the washout. Put the ball on the left side of the 1 and try to throw it over into the 10. The ball will get the 2 and the 4. Oh, well, that's the one bad break you can get. Seemed like an awfully good shot, but she sends the 1 right around the 10. Watch how it happened. The 1 pin goes right around. How did it miss the 10 pin? And that's wide left. And she gets them all to go except the 2 she was trying to hit. The 1-3. That should be the easiest pair of pins in the rack to hit for a right-hander. Well, it looks like we're waiting on a ball. So I'll just tell you that if you're thinking about coming to Bowl Prodigy with us, we shoot each show on Saturdays right after league. We start usually at around 12:30 p.m. If we know somebody's coming from across town, we might hold off and wait for them until around 1. But any junior bowler is welcome. And Amanda's spare attempt goes wide. She leaves the head pin, and now the lead goes back to Rowan. One of these two is going to have to win this match. Well, that one gets back to tick the head pin, but leaves the 2-4-5 on a light hit. He gives it the body lean and a little kick of the leg, but it just won't get those pins to listen. He sets his feet. And gets the spare. Now, these kids don't really have a spare system yet, as I mentioned, the young ones, but they will learn. I know Amanda surely has learned it by now. She came to us from Cherokee Lanes, where all the kids are well coached over there. We'll get Rowan coached up. He'll have a spare system before long. As it is right now, he shoots these spares pretty much by feel. And he's pretty effective. That's a pretty effective ball, I'd say, right there. Amanda, 10 in the pit on that one. Watch it. 4-step approach in perfect time. Right over the second arrow, down over the 9th board at the break point, and 10 back. But she's unable to get the double as that one hooks high. And now she's got a split. The 3-10 baby split. Stand on the left side of the approach. Shoot at the right side of the 3-pin, let the ball deflect off into the 10. She's standing more in the middle of the lane, playing it down the right side. I don't like this. And that's why. You want that ball approaching the 3-pin from the left side of the lane so that it can deflect off to the right. All right, take a close look at Rowan. And he crosses over and gets him to mix up. And there's another strike. He doesn't give it quite enough room. But it doesn't matter. When they all go, they all go. And he says, I didn't think that was going to get them all to go down. Well, neither did I. But a strike is a strike is a strike. And that time he finds the pocket, but again, that light ball deflects around the 5. And he's got a tricky split, the 5-7. This can be made. Move your feet about 3 boards to the left off your strike position. And throw that ball right over your strike mark at the arrows. But he pulled it a little bit, and that's another open. But this time he had some pins to burn, and Amanda still 8 pins behind in the match. I think 3 spares might be enough. But she leaves the highly unusual 1-8-9, and this spare is no bargain. You've got to hit the 1 pin, obviously, the front pin, but then you've got to split the 8 and 9 with the ball. So shoot it about like a strike. But she chops the 1 and 8 off the 9. Easy to do with that spare. And now the lead is 19 as we head into the closing frames. And that one doesn't get up to the head pin. Amanda with the washout, the 1-2-4-10. We've seen this before. You want to move your feet about 7 boards to the right and throw it over your strike target. Let the ball cross over. Knock the 1 over into the 10. She almost made it earlier, but this time the ball drifts well to the left. And that's another open frame. And look at this, Rowan with a 32-pin lead in the 9th frame. But now he's going to get a chance to make the washout. Well, this not exactly an exhibition of precision shot making, but and he sends that one off into Never Never Land, and 6 out. That will tighten the match a bit. So an 18-pin lead in the 10th frame. Amanda can shoot 125, so Rowan needs a mark to shut her out. When he breaks down the cluster and leaves just the 2 pin, so a reasonable chance for a spare. If he can make this, he would need just 3 pins on the fill ball to lock this up. Oh, but he runs by the 2 pin. And that gives Amanda the opening she needed. Amanda can strike out for 125, but she must strike on the first 2 balls or Rowan is the winner. And that's it. Little Rowan Sautner, in his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, has won the championship in the Handicap Division. How about that, sports fans? There's a spare for Amanda, but she lapped the field in qualifying, so this is a huge upset. And I don't think Rowan even quite realizes what has happened. There is an 8 count for a 113, and Amanda wins scratch. And Rowan has just seen that on the overhead score sheet. He thinks he's lost by a pin. But no, that 10-pin handicap differential gives Rowan the win. How about that?
It's not about makes or misses.
Solomon Solomon makes history today.
It's not about trophies or fame.
How about this young man?
It's about the people you meet and the memories you make.
You know, I think the social aspect of it is really what it means for me to be a bowler. You know, that sense of community that you get with other people that you bowl with.
And it's a wonderful thing about the sport. It brings you close to people beyond just kind of the bowling itself, and I would have never expected that.
Well, it wasn't exactly a shot-making exhibition, but the thing about match play is you don't have to bowl the greatest game to win. You only have to score 1 pin higher than your opponent. In fact, Amanda did score 1 pin higher than Rowan, scratch. But they were bowling in the Handicap Division, and she was spotting Rowan 10 pins. So it's Rowan who's making a trip to the winner's circle to put his name on the coveted, colorful trophy pin. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour is our smallest winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's Rowan. Are you happy?
Yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand you just had a birthday.
Yep.
So now you're 10 years old, the big 1-0. And, well, this is a pretty good birthday present right here, I'd say. So I didn't even have to tell you what to do. You already knew the drill. He's going with the multicolor look on the signature, which is not surprising given his wardrobe and the pink hair. He's consumed with this. So don't forget to put the date, 9/22/2018. So let me see. Oh, he's gone with the super big signature. Okay. How does it feel to be a winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour?
Good.
Yeah. Congratulations. Way to go.
Good job.
Way to go, kiddo. So now we turn our attention to the Scratch Division. In the opening match, number 4 seed Christian Manel faces Dawson Stewart. Then in match 2, the winner of that opener will face Nick Dishinger in the semifinal. And the winner of that match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leader, Charles Bostic. But right now, it's time for our opening match. Christian, who's been stymied thus far this season in his efforts at trying to make the show, finally snuck in today. And Dawson Stewart, who made his first trip over from Brunswick's own Lilburn today and raced into the number 3 position to get into the stepladder finals. Dawson, being the higher qualifier, had the choice of starting lanes, and he has chosen to let Christian lead off, which, interestingly, is what Christian would have chosen if it had been his choice. Ooh, pretty good shot. Just jumped at the end. Tripped the 4. 10 remains. So Christian will take his urethane ball, the one that doesn't hook much, and he'll go hard and straight at the 10 pin. But misses it. And so he's not a happy camper. The last time we saw Christian was on the Prodigy Tournament of Champions, which came down to the 10th frame of sudden death. Dawson, smooth and easy, right for the pocket. And he steamrolls him on the opening toss. Watch this. Nice straight swing. Solid as can be. Dawson's dad is his coach, Wes. Well, and that one just sails a little wide. We've seen some of that. There's not much help on the outside on this pattern. You send it wide, it's going to finish wide. But he collapses the 1-3-6 and has just the 1 pin. This certainly shouldn't prove too difficult. But you got to hit what you're looking at on this pattern, that's for sure. And a spare. So Christian moves over to lane 40. I joked with him, first 3 weeks this season on Prodigy, he'd been in the top 5 after game 1 of qualifying, only to fall out of the top 5 and miss the show. Today, with a shorter step ladder, he was outside the line after the first game. Look at that. Shreds the rack. But then in the second game, he put on a big charge and just got in. Well, this is as good a shot as you'll see. Right over the third arrow, out to about 8 at the break point. And right in the swish zone. We'll watch his reaction. And he liked it. Well, he got around that one a little earlier, and so it hooked a little early on him. But it counts just the same. That's a double, and he has closed the gap on Dawson with that double. He knows he got away with one. All right, Dawson back up on the right lane. And he pulled that one. There's just no margin for error on this pattern. A 2-to-1 ratio. You know, to put that in some kind of context, the house shot that you bowl on at home is usually going to be around a 10-to-1, maybe a 12-to-1 ratio. 12 times more oil in the middle boards than on the outside. Here, it's just 2-to-1. And Dawson covers the 5/8 spare. And this match remains close. A couple of 212s in qualifying was as high as anyone could get. So we're not going to see big strings of strikes today in all likelihood. That was close. Just a pinch high. Dawson leaves a simple single pin spare. One he has faced thousands of times. And he covers the 6-pin. So now Christian with an opportunity to defy all odds and put up a little string of strikes here. If he can catch one here in the 4th, he would extend the lead to 12. Oh, but that one breaks a little high at the end. And he leaves what for a right-hander is the same as what Dawson left on the other lane when he left a 6. This is the 4. And once again, Christian goes to his urethane ball. He's learned to just throw it straight at his spares whenever he can. And that's well done. Takes all the guesswork out of spare shooting when you just go straight at them. Take a ball that doesn't hook like urethane or a plastic ball and you can pretty much take the oil pattern out of play. Well, he gave it a hard rip. Too hard as it crosses over. But he leaves one of the simplest spares there is, the 5-pin. Now you shoot this about like you would a strike. Of course, you don't want to throw that Brooklyn that's running away from the pocket like he just did, but a pocket hit should take out the 5-pin. You might want to move your feet aboard left. But not there. Why? He throws it in the moat, and, well, we've seen that out of Christian before when you least expect it. But that's an unforced error, and Dawson is handed a gift. An 11-pin lead midway through our opening match in the Scratch Division. But it looks like Christian's going to get one right back as Dawson goes through the nose and leaves the left-hander's Greek church. 2 ways to shoot at this. Go at the 3 on the left if you want to get count. But I maintain if you're going to try to make it, go for the 2. Now, in this particular instance, I can't think of a good reason not to go for the 3. It's still early in the match, and the chances of making it are pretty slim. Now, Dawson had the right idea, but a little unlucky, sends the 4-pin in front of the 8. When you shoot it that way, you're counting on the 4-pin hitting the 8 and ricocheting a bit more back toward you. You want that 8-pin to redirect the 4, send it more forward so that it can get both the 6 and 10, but it was not to be that time, and Christian has the lead back. But Dawson finds the pocket in the 6th frame, and that's a beautiful strike. We'll take another look at it. He hits about 11 at the arrows, out to about 10 at the break point. He's playing pretty straight up the boards. Christian takes out his anger on the pins after that gutter ball in the 5th frame. Watch this. Boy, he gave this one a rip. The problem with this, when he rips it like that, I'll show you on this next replay. Watch his head. See how it jerks through? That's what happens when he tries to give it all that extra at the bottom. You want your head steady through release. It allows you to keep your eyes on the target. The first thing I look at with players is how steady is their head through release. Christian just tries to do way too much to the ball. He and I got into it one day. He thought I was trying to turn him into a stroker, as if that was a bad thing. But I'm not. I'm just trying to get him to dial it back, throttle back a little bit so that he can control his power. Power is useless if you can't control it. And he just goes 130% on every shot. He needs to go about 80. All right, Dawson working on a strike, can move back out ahead if he can catch a double right now. And there it is. That was well done. Take another look at it. He is so smooth. There is a steady head through release. Watch his head. It drops just a little bit, but not much. He's smooth. And he's out ahead now. And he shreds the rack to get a turkey and move out ahead by 13. Best shot he's thrown all game. Looked like he moved back to the left a little bit. All right, Christian needs to get busy. Yikes. Well, we'll watch it again. We'll see if we can pick up anything here. He's been playing the 3rd arrow. He hit about 11 at the boards that time, at the arrows that time. You missed by 4 boards at the arrows, and on a sports shot, you're just not going to get away with that. And a lot of that is just caused by him trying to do too much to the ball. He's just out of control. Just needs to dial it back. He crosses over that time. You see, when he gets mad, he just seems to hit it even harder. He's got so much natural ability that he expects that to carry him. And you got to think, this is a thinking man's or woman's game. And if you're not using the gray matter between your ears, you're not going to have much success in bowling. Week 7, pretty good commercial shot, but not quite enough to slap out the corner. Still with a 33-pin lead, he's in the driver's seat. Now here's something you don't see very often. Somebody shooting at the 7-pin, the left-hander from the middle of the lane. But he makes it work. So now Christian with a possible 185 with 3 strikes in the 10th. Dawson needs 9 pins on this ball. And that would shut out Christian. Well, he didn't like it. He turned away, but that's 9. And that's a winner right there. So even if he misses this 4-pin, he shoots 186. And that's 1 more than Christian can get. Conversion in the 10th, and that'll put him in the 190s with any kind of reasonable fill. As I think he has gone to get a different ball to see if he gets a better look. That's good advice for those of you watching at home. When you've got a match sewn up, go ahead and try another piece of equipment. See if it gives you a slightly different line to the pocket. Might be better. I don't know if he's going to like that one so much, but it is a strike. A crossover. Well, Christian's going to look back on this and see some missed opportunities, I think. And look at this. Once the match is out of hand, he just relaxes and lets it go, and the strikes come much easier then. I think if Christian just learns to try to do a little less to the ball, he will find that he will have much greater success. He has power to burn, but it's like he's trying to dig deeper and get even more power out of each and every shot, and it's just not necessary. There's only 10 pins down there. You don't have to throw it like you're trying to knock down 30 of them at once. Well, a disappointment for Christian, but he'll have other chances. Dawson is moving on. He will face Nick in our next match. Coming up. Hey, it's me, Coach Randy, with exciting news about a new way you can help support Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Over the past couple of years, we've had a number of Prodigy fans say they'd love to offer something in payment for the Prodigy content seen each week on YouTube throughout the bowling season. Well, I'm pleased to announce that Prodigy is now on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, in case you're not familiar with it, Patreon is a platform where YouTube content consumers like you can connect directly with YouTube content creators like me and pledge a small amount of money each month to support the work that goes into creating the content that you enjoy watching. It's based on the age-old concept of patrons. About 30 to 40 hours of work goes into the production of each and every episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. So if you enjoy the content on Prodigy Bowlers Tour each week and you'd like to support the show, please check it out at patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. There are 4 affordable subscription tiers, and each one offers a different reward, up to and including sneak peeks of shows before they're released to the public, exclusive behind-the-scenes content that only members will ever see, and there's even a tier that will enable you to get all that and get your name in the credits each week as a producer of the show. You'll be helping me to be able to continue making the show each week and even reinvest some of the money into improving the show going forward. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks for supporting Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Just when it looked like Christian might take control of the match, he threw one in the sewer when going for a 5-pin. Dawson responded with a turkey, and Christian had no answers. Christian told me he's going to take some time away from Prodigy, as he feels he's just making a fool of himself until he gets his game together. I don't know about all that, but I would agree that some fundamental changes are in order. He just needs to learn to throttle back a little so he can get the ball more under control. But a guy whose game is very much under control, Dawson Stewart, has earned the right to take a step up the stepladder and moves on to our semifinal match, where he'll face Nick Dischinger. Nick will be trying to become the first multiple winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. And being the higher finisher, Nick had the choice of starting lanes. He wants to finish first, so he said to Dawson, "You, sir, may lead off." So Dawson will begin the match on the left lane. And that opening toss comes up a little thin, and he leaves the 3-5-6. Just want to move your feet a few boards left and throw it over your strike target. Dawson with a somewhat different approach. He goes with the straight ball at his spares, and I applaud that move, especially on a choppable spare like the 3-5-6. And in fact, he took chopping completely out of the equation by touching all 3 pins with the ball that time. All right, now we get our first look today at Nick. We've seen that shot from him before. And it was so good, let's look at it again. Over the third arrow, out to about 8 at the break point, and like a truck right through the pins. You know, I asked this guy, why doesn't he show up on leaderboards more at like GYBT and some of these other tournaments? And he said, spares. He says he's not a very good spare shooter, but he sure makes a lot of strikes. Take a look at that one again. And watch the ball as it's starting to climb to get to the pocket. It looked like it flattened out at the end. Watch this. See, it just kind of stopped climbing in the last 8 feet. Watch it. Climbing, climbing, and then it just goes straight. That could be the sign of some carry down on the lanes from all those plastic balls we saw earlier. We'll keep an eye on that. I wouldn't expect it would affect Dawson as much because all the plastic balls were being thrown by right-handers. Rowan and Brandon. Dawson's the only lefty in the field. So he's got that side of the lane all to himself. And he takes care of the single pin spare. And so we move to the third frame. That double by Nick has provided him with most of the lead, but it's still early. And if we've learned nothing else, it's that spares are not a given on this oil pattern. Dawson goes through the nose, and I'll tell you what, with the guy walking back on the catwalk from behind the pin setters, I would have waited and let him get on back here before I would have made my approach. That's very distracting. At least it is for me. I guess if you've got tunnel vision, it might not bother you, but well, did I mention something about spares not being automatic today? Dawson sends the 6 around the 10, and there's our first open of this match. So Nick with a double up. But now that one drifts high, and he leaves the 6-10. Little different spare for a right-hander to shoot at, as you're hooking into it, making a chop even more likely. You don't usually see left-handers chop the 6-10. He covers it and remains clean. The lead 22 pins. I found that comment quite interesting from Nick about his spare shooting. He's recently gone to throwing a plastic ball at his spares. That one crosses over and he gets a strike. Can't count on those. He's not proud of this one, but he'll take it. Missed his target left. Gets him to mix up. Whatever it takes. All right, Dawson. And that ball drifts high. Now this, the 4-7, is more like the 6-10 that Nick shot a moment ago. I would expect Dawson would go straight at this, but first he's called me over. Apparently there's a piece of debris, a piece of plastic, he said, that's moving a bit, waving, that was distracting him. He said it looked like a candy bar wrapper or something, but no. It was actually a piece of plastic that was attached to the bumper that had come loose, and I guess the air conditioning circulation in the room was making it move a bit, waving back and forth. And just enough of a distraction to get him out of his rhythm. He chops the 7 off the 4, and you can tell from his facial expression, he's like, what else can go wrong? Well, it's still early. These lanes do appear to be changing. That time it looked like it hooked before it even got halfway down the lane. He goes high and leaves the 2-4. After back-to-back chops, what could be going through his mind now? It better be nothing more than let's make this, and not replaying any tapes from the previous opens. He gets the 2-4 to go, as you would expect he might. But now he's given an opening to Nick, who's got a strike working in the 4th and a 33-pin lead. But once again, that ball labors to get up to the pocket. It doesn't quite make it back, and he leaves the 2. The question is, are they starting to see some carry down, or are they just not making great shots? He covers the spare, maintains his lead. Tell you what, when the lanes are touchy like this, it is no longer a game of getting strikes. This is a battle for survival, and you just got to close your frames. And there's no better way to close a frame than with a strike. And he's got to like that one. Six-step approach, and it'll come in light, and he gets the wall shot. Oh my goodness gracious. It looked to me like Dawson actually moved back left a little bit to go a little more direct. But that ball obviously hit flat. The dreaded DOA ball, dead on arrival, does not drive through. And he's got the 7-9. Nothing to do with this, just go for one. Didn't look to me like he threw that first ball all that badly. That looked like a good shot to me, but there must be some crazy stuff going on the lanes down there, causing the ball not to go through the pins correctly. That's ultimately what causes leaves like that. He put it right in the pocket, but it just didn't drive through. A change of balls. Let's see if that helps. comes in thin that time, leaves the 3-5-6. We've seen him shoot this before. And once again, he covers it. Well, it's frustrating, I know, to go frame after frame after frame, and you're still looking for your first strike of the match. Going, what do I have to do to get one? Well, you missed just a little bit right. It's not going to come back. We've seen this again and again today. The 1-2-8. Get the ball on the left side of the head pin. Let it take out the 2. The 2 will take out the 8, or the ball will get the 8. You actually hit a little higher than that on the head pin, and the ball will take out all 3. Just like that. And that leaves no doubt. So Nick with a 46-pin lead. It looks like he's going to cruise to a win, but with spares being anything but a certainty, he's got to be careful. Oh my goodness. Well, you can't throw it any better than that. The stone 7. They talk about the 8-pin being the only real tap in bowling for a right-hander. I would say a stone 7 is pretty close. Watch the 2-pin. It goes up and in front of the 7. And Nick can't believe his eyes. And he just barely gets that 7-pin to go. But now Dawson's got his back to the wall. He can strike out for 192. Nick is going at a 207 pace. So Dawson would have to strike out and hope that Nick stumbled somewhere. Well, there's that ball he went to the last time, and this time he gets lined up with it. That looked like a solid throw to me. Can't do it any better. That looks like one of those purple hammers, although I'm not familiar enough with Dawson's arsenal to say for sure what it is. Oh my goodness. It's the same lane. Nick got the stone 7. Now Dawson gets the stone 10. We'll watch both of them side by side. Oh, there ought to be a law against that. He covers the 10-pin, but boy, that really hurts his chances. Now the best Dawson can do is 172, and Nick can just about put an end to things right here. What was that? See if we can pick up anything here. He missed a couple of boards right. That's pretty touchy stuff there. Well, and an open frame to boot, so he loses 10 pins in count on the first ball, 12 more on the second ball, because he got 8 out, and that big lead is down now to 23. So let's recalculate. Dawson can strike out for 172. Nick needs 8 pins. There's 9, and that'll do it. And Nick has won this semifinal match and will go on to face Charlie in the championship match. Well, he made it interesting at the end. Covers the 3. Well, those 3 open frames for Dawson. Nick only got 1 double in the match. That was neutralized by the gutter ball in the 9th frame. So it really just came down to those 3 opens. Dawson's such a good spare shooter most of the time, but on this oil pattern, everything is tricky. He didn't like the way that one came off his hand. You saw him look down at his hand as soon as he let it go. Something wasn't right. And it falls off into the channel. Does not matter. Nick already had it won anyway, and Nick Dischinger will face Charles Bostic in the championship match. Coming up next. Now, from the Prodigy Bowlers Tour newsroom, with reports from around the world, across the nation, and up your alley. This is Prodigy Striking News. Dateline, Amarillo, Texas. Prodigy alum Melissa McConnell recently voted one of the team captains on her Lady Eagles team at Oklahoma Christian University. Left the school's inaugural bowling tournament with some hardware. Melissa finished tied for second in individual honors, and the team finished third overall. Not bad considering the school's bowling program is just getting started, and this was its very first tournament ever. We're looking for big things from Melissa and her Lady Eagles this year. Look for Melissa to file reports soon on Prodigy. Dateline, Marietta, Georgia. Prodigy Bowlers Tour regular Spiro Schenk captured top honors in the younger boys division Sunday at the Top Dog Junior Tournament, a monthly competition that's part of the Atlanta area Nelson Invitational series of events. It was Spiro's first attempt in a Top Dog Junior. Finishing second in the girls division was Prodigy's Faith Roper. First prize went to Glory Harmon. Dateline, Canton, Georgia. Last weekend brought the annual PBA 50 regional tournament to Cherokee Lanes, home of a number of Prodigy regulars, including Annalise O'Brien and her dad, Doug, who was competing in the tournament. Friday night was the Pro-Am, and Prodigy's Terrell Ingalls took first place. During the competition, he issued a good-natured challenge to Walter Ray Williams Jr., who was one of the pros in the Pro-Am. Terrell told him he wanted to bowl him straight up, two-handed. Walter Ray, who'd been bowling on the adjacent pair next to Terrell and saw him bowl, responded saying, "Okay, I'll bowl you, but you'll have to give me 40 pins." Not sure if he got those pins from Terrell, but it didn't matter. Terrell fired a scintillating 254 at Walter Ray, but lost, as Walter Ray Williams Jr. fired a 300 game at him. As was the case in the Pro-Am, they were bowling 9-pin no-tap. And that's the news from the Prodigy News Desk. I'm Coach Randy. Well, before we get on with the championship match, let's review how we got here. We began with 9 in the Scratch Division, and Dawson got off to the fastest start, throwing the high Scratch game of the competition with a 212. Terrell Ingalls was inside the cut line after the first game. And we had 2 newcomers to Prodigy, Allison Coriel and Reese Gregorovic. Reese just joined our league today, and Allison came all the way up from the south side to bowl Prodigy. She's one of the top girl bowlers in the area, and you're liable to see her on the show if she keeps coming and tries again. In the second game, Christian equaled the high game of the competition, and it was enough to get him into the top 4 as he just edged Terrell by 3 pins. And as you saw in our semifinal match, Nick Dischinger got the better of Dawson Stewart by a score of 185 to 150. So it's Nick who has advanced to the championship match, where he'll bowl Charlie Bostic for the right to sign the coveted trophy pin. Nick and Charlie have both won this season on Prodigy, so we're going to have our first multiple winner of the year as soon as this match is complete. Charlie was the higher finisher, and as is his usual preference, he wants to finish first, so Nick is going to lead off. He will begin the match on the left lane. And that one just a little wide of the mark. Nick leaves the 2-pin. An easy one to get started with. But not easy enough. He goes with the hook ball at the 2-pin and whiffs it. So Charlie up on the right. See if he can do any better. Well, that's wide of the mark. And he leaves the washout, the 1-2-8-10. Put the ball on the left side of the head pin and throw it over into the 10. And he got a little too much of the 1-pin. So the 2 exchange opens in the first frame. And we're back to square one. Charlie throws it extra hard on the left lane to try to get it to hold line, but it climbs a little too high and leaves the 3-10 baby split. You want to fit the ball between the 2 pins, knock them both down with the ball. And that would be the way you would try to do it. But he makes it on the other side, sending the 3 over into the 10. And you wouldn't draw it up that way, but he'll take it. So Nick will try to regroup after that open to start. And it comes up thin again. This time the 2-pin has company. A 2-5. Now if you try to hook into this one, you're liable to chop it. It'd be interesting to see if he goes straight at it or if he plays the hook ball like he did at the 2-pin a moment ago. Nope, he's going straight. and he pulls it. So that's back-to-back opens to start for Nick. Okay. All right, let's climb back on the horse now. Well, he had the 4-9 peeking at him for an instant, but he breaks it down and has just the 4-pin. He ought to be able to make this one. But I'd have said the same thing about the 2-pin a little while ago. Are you kidding me? You weren't kidding. Well, he did tell us earlier that he'd been having problems with spares. But this isn't a problem. This is a disease. And Charlie, once again on the right lane, can't get the ball to the head pin, and he leaves another washout on the right. Again, put the ball on the left side of the 1-pin. The ball will get the 2 and the 4. The 1-pin needs to get the 10. But once again, he gets too much of the head pin. And, well, these are two of the best bowlers in our program, two of the best junior bowlers in the state, and they are struggling. That's 5 opens and 6 frames. Well, it'd be a beautiful thing to see him make it. He's made the 410 on Prodigy before. Let's see if he can do it again. Slide the 4 over into the 10, if you can do it. Oh, he gave it a good try. But now that's 6 opens and 7 frames, and, well, this is almost like the Twilight Zone. What is going on here? There's a strike. Give that boy a gold star or an X on the scoreboard. That was so good, it's worth watching a second time. That goes over 17 at the arrows, out to about 8 at the break point. And right in the swish zone. Oh, a double. That could prove huge the way things are going this match. Played a little farther inside on the left lane, and he gave Charlie a little salute as he left the lane. And Charlie goes with the high hard one from inside, and we saw Peyton Smith do this in the Prodigy TOC when the lanes just transitioned into some kind of weirdness. Charlie leaves the 5-8-10. I bet he hasn't left that since he was 10 years old. But I'll tell you a little secret about the frozen rope. Dick Weber used to go to this shot when the lanes became unplayable, or when he just absolutely had to have one and the lanes were unpredictable. But if you're going to play that shot, play it from the right corner. You still need entry angle to carry out those back pins. You don't want to be leaving 5-8-10s like Charlie just did. There you go. He goes to his purple hammer urethane, and watch what happens. That is textbook right there. Just do that. That's my advice. Well, Nick gets that ball a little high on the head pin and leaves the 3-6, another one of these choppable spares. Spares at a premium here. Let's see if he can make it. Yes. So that is his first spare of the match. And by golly, that's 3 marks in a row. Might he have stemmed the tide? That's a pretty good ball right there. Just came in a little high. Leaves the 4-pin. Now, the way single pin spares have been missed today, I'll just throw this out there. This is how you make the 4-pin. You just put the ball right on it. I think most everyone knows how to do that, but just in case anybody had forgotten. Yes! A conversion. All right, Charlie with a strike up. He can close this lead down if he can catch one here in the 7th and one in the 8th. But no. After failing to get up to the pocket each of his previous 3 attempts on this lane, leaving washouts, this time he overcompensates and leaves the 310 baby split. He made it earlier. But this time he gets too much of the 3-pin, and that's another open frame. And instead of shaving the lead grows to 33. Well, neither one of these players is lighting it up, so you'd have to say this is still anybody's match. Charlie with a strike on the left lane. That's 2 in a row on that lane. He's got to feel like he's got that one wired now. And he finishes on that lane. That's high flush right there. Whoops. Through the nose, the 4-6-7. And now Nick's 33-pin lead has already shrunk by 3 and will likely shrink some more after this next shot unless he pulls off a miracle. No miracles today. So now an 18-pin lead. Well, Nick can strike out for 178. Charlie can strike out for 170. So I would definitely say this is anybody's ball game. Textbook strike right there. All right, Charlie has got to find this right lane. That was his best ball of the match on that lane. Comes in light, looking for a shaker, but the 7 stubbornly refuses to go. And he will go straight at the corner pin. Cross lane. All righty then. Well, I'd say Charlie's options have grown fewer and fewer. A possible 138. Nick is sitting at 128 right now if he doesn't show up for the 10th. And why would he, really? So I'd say Charlie needs to get all he can. But he misses the head pin. There's the 1, 2, 4, 8. He's got to make it. He is mathematically still in it. He goes two-handed at it and converts the spare. So here's the deal. If Charlie strikes on his fill ball, he shoots 128. Nick would have to keep the ball on the lane and stay behind the foul line once in the 10th to beat him. And Charlie gives it the big fist bump like he just won the Masters. So here's the dealio. All Nick needs is one pin and to stay behind the foul line. And just to be on the safe side, I think Nick is going for another ball. Because even with all the balls he has on the rack now, this is the only one he's confident will get him one pin. There's a winner right there. Where was that? Oh, wait a minute. The foul light just went off. Well, you can't do that. He will throw one down the middle of the lane. And again, the foul light goes off. Well, that's too bad. Well, these two are friends. They bowl league together, and it's all in fun. Nick is the winner today in the Scratch Division on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and we will get him to sign the coveted colorful trophy pin when we return next.
In the afternoon, when things slow down, when you're wondering what to do, let's go! Go bowling! Nothing brings people together or makes friends so fast as bowling. So call a friend. Bowl Brunswick tomorrow.
Congratulations once again to the winner in our Handicap Division, Rowan Sautner. The little guy probably gained a whole new following today. And while the championship match in our Scratch Division seemed more like an episode out of the Twilight Zone, there still had to be a winner, and that winner is Nick Dischinger, who becomes our first multiple winner of the 2018-19 bowling season. And with that, he gets to sign his name on the coveted trophy pin yet again.
Now, I want the two of you to know that I had actually considered inviting Rowan to stay so that he could bowl the winner of the Scratch Division.
I'm here to beat us.
And I want you to know, I think he could have taken you Scratch.
Yeah, I think you're going to beat us. I think you're going to beat me.
Well, yeah. Nick, you know the drill. You get to sign the coveted trophy pin. And Charlie, for that 128, I want you to cross out your name from the coveted trophy.
Yeah. I think it's deserving of that. Like halfway, or actually 2 frames in, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
What's the date? 9/20.
9/22/2018. So this makes you a 2-time winner this year?
Hey, close match. What are you talking
Yes.
about?
Congratulations. Nick hates doing these interviews, but he keeps showing up in the winner's circle, so it's going to keep happening. Charlie, you'll be back, I know.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. I like the 5, 7, 10 out of the 5, 8, 10. That was nice.
All right. Well, say goodnight, kids.